In Britain, they're, I kid you not, how can this be real? They are releasing convicted pedophiles from prison in order to put people in prison for Facebook posts. There were, and I'm simply stating a fact, there were migrant rape gangs in England that would run around and prey on young girls, gang rape them, and some people found that objectionable, which obviously it should be objectionable, and they were upset about that, and so they complained about it online and were sent to prison. That sounds crazy.
The rumors that are spreading through the streets come from the Keir Starmer Labor government and are directed against Tommy Robinson, who boldly exposes the fraudulent methods of racial division used by the government to divide the people. These are not just rumors, they are an attack on freedom of speech and the truth. The situation is becoming increasingly alarming as trust in the government plummets. They are well aware that they are lying, and they are trying to shut up those who dare to tell the truth by sending them to jail. But now, when the British people seem to freeze in silence, one of the most influential billionaires in the world, Elon Musk, decides to intervene in the fate of Tommy Robinson. His support is not just a gesture. It is a powerful signal that freedom of speech and the fight against censorship are more important than anything else. Hatred of Starmer is snowballing, fueling trolling and open protest. People are beginning to realize that their voice matters and are ready to fight for their rights.
I think England has gone back to the Tudor times, not America. You've just gone back 400 years with this government that you've got.
From your perspective, from your point of view, there's really nothing that Keir Starmer can do to build a bridge.
No, he needs to resign. He needs to resign before 4 years. I think he needs to resign in the next 3 months. And the other thing is, the things that these people that he's put into cabinet posts have said about Trump are not gross. They are way beyond gross. So in the past, if somebody had said things like they've said about Trump, it would really be a dueling matter. So if somebody had said things like that a couple 150 years ago, they would be challenged to a duel to the death.
Understand how crucial it is to support this alliance which unites people with common interests. Immediately after Tommy was reinstated with the acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk and his colossal reach, the attack on outdated media and sponsored news companies became more pronounced than ever. This is reminiscent of the dark times in the United States, when there was a struggle with the Republicans, and we saw how the mainstream media controlled and purposefully spread false reports. People began to open their eyes to what was happening inside the system, and this awareness became more vivid when Tommy Robinson boldly exposed the government in all available ways. Keir Starmer, as always, quickly applied his usual censorship methods, using the judicial system to suppress the truth. This has led to non-disclosure orders and many false accusations, as was the case in 2021. He was accused of defaming a 15-year-old refugee at a school in Huddersfield and was forced to pay a staggering £100,000 plus legal fees for defamation and disruption of proceedings at Woolwich Crown Court. As a result of this injunction against defamation, Robinson was sentenced to 18 months in prison. This is not just an injustice, it is a real attack on freedom of speech and the truth.
Now, Elon Musk has caused an earthquake by suggesting that at the next UK general election in 2029, the established parties, left and right, Labour and the Tories, will be, in his words, crushed at that next election. Now, what's he pointing to? Well, Elon Musk is pointing to the complete collapse of public support for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who, of course, has only been in the job since July. But if you look at the polls, Keir Starmer's net ratings have collapsed to minus 38. So he is in what we call net negative territory, or what I like to call Prince Andrew.
Keir Starmer stands at the centre of this ongoing crisis. His leadership, according to critics, is nothing more than a puppet regime that ignores the interests of the people. Despite his public denials and suppression of dissent, including the imprisonment of those who dare to challenge him, Starmer continues to advance his so-called grand plan for the future. But is this really for the benefit of the British people or just another ploy to maintain power? From Elon Musk's previous conflicts with his apparent hatred of the mainstream media, which is supported by corrupt politicians, it becomes obvious how passionately he opposes the system. He openly shares his thoughts about the court cases and charges that have been brought against him, as well as about his company SpaceX.
I don't think that Tommy Robinson is frothing anything either.
I didn't say he was either. I said he was an extremist, but I didn't say he was frothing.
Well, I disagree with you on that. And the man that I was there with, in fact, just not one man, but the person I was there with, I was referring to a moment ago, who is Muslim, I'm sure if he was on the line with me right now, he would be putting you straight, that you're giving out the wrong message, that Tommy Robinson is not an extremist. He says certain things that are truths. The reason why he's been convicted to prison for 18 months today, your news bulletin is saying that he put out repeated falsehoods or something like that. Actually, it's the opposite. He's been put in prison for telling the truth.
Musk is accused of not hiring illegal immigrants, while his companies engaged in advanced rocket technology are not allowed to hire foreigners. As a result, regardless of the circumstances, he is being sued by both sides, which only increases his hatred of the government and media censorship. His support for the truth about what really happened to Tommy Robinson caused a storm of emotions among millions of Britons who openly expressed their opinion on the issue. The Labour government of Keir Starmer seems to have become the main proponent of this blatant injustice. Currently in the UK, the creation and promotion of the so-called Order of Respect by Keir Starmer is seen as a clever way to circumvent the law, allowing people to be imprisoned for daring to anticipate the truth by speaking out loud or making statements on social media about what is really happening in the country.
Yes, and we have no chance against Wikipedia.
We have no chance against Google, Wikipedia, big tech.
No, and there are lies made up on us and put all over, and we can't delete it, we can't get rid of it. There's nothing we can do, because we are the alternative media, we are the bad people, we are...
Well, they need rid of us.
There are so many labels. I mean, just before this interview now, we tried to give you a label, and what was that? To be activist, you suggested thug, hooligan, journalist, handsome author, anything, And we think, let's just skip the labels, right? Because you want to be a journalist. You are a journalist, you actually dig up stuff. I also find on some occasions that you're still very trustworthy.
After praising Elon Musk's contribution to creating a platform for true freedom of speech, he presented a disturbing scenario about what might have happened if Musk hadn't bought Twitter and Kamala Harris had defeated Donald Trump. In this bleak future, people around the world would live in constant fear, surrounded by controlled narratives and false truths imposed by mainstream opinion. We are increasingly witnessing this, from violent riots to the destruction of property due to uncontrolled violence. Many people are leaving the UK, while others are being banned from leaving, as the government restricts access to its own citizens by advocating illegal immigration. Some argue that civil war is inevitable, others believe that it is impossible. But the predictions of Elon Musk only emphasize this disturbing reality. At the moment, sources report that the British people have a common enemy, the government controlled by the elites. But where is our beloved Prime Minister in all this? He is busy sending taxes to the moon, destroying the economy and bankrupting the financial system, creating an imaginary black hole as a result of his hypocritical collaboration with Rachel Reeves.
I've researched and checked that it's right. You can get fooled at times. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm a journalist. I'm a citizen journalist.
We all can.
Yeah, we all can. I've learnt my trade. I now see, if you look at the investigative documentaries I've done, I've exposed the BBC like no one else has. I absolutely annihilated them in creating fake news, making up sexual allegations. Everything the public think about our mainstream broadcasters, I proved that their most investigative documentary, Panorama, was scripted and was a lie. I proved it with covert recordings. When I proved that it was actually the release of that documentary, which was on 2 million views in 48 hours, that got me cancelled from every social media and got me re-prosecuted by...
Continuing his recent statements, Tommy Robinson spoke out with incredible determination against the unfair decisions of the judiciary, citing powerful examples from his life that leave no doubt that he was right. As Elon Musk said in an interview with Joe Rogan, "Show me this man and I'll show you a crime." These words emphasize that anyone who dares to challenge the system risks being punished, and eventually charges will be brought against him, even if they are not formalized. But this does not mean that everyone agrees with his statements. Despite a lot of evidence to support them, including examples from the situation with Donald Trump during the US presidential election, and other brave people who openly talked about political issues, many continue to remain deaf to the truth. Nevertheless, As Elon Musk tirelessly fights censorship on Twitter, his retweets in support of Tommy Robinson have brought this important information to millions of people. This is exactly what Tommy wanted, being in terrible conditions in a British solitary cell where his voice should not have been heard. His struggle is not just a personal story, it is a symbol of hope for all who seek justice. Share your thoughts in the comments.